the FBI has seized Mike Lindell's cell phone. This happened on Tuesday. Apparently, Lindell was at a Hardee's drive-thru in Mankato, Minnesota. Several, I believe 3 FBI agents showed up. They produced a warrant. They asked Lindell if he had a computer and a phone. Apparently, Lindell doesn't even own a computer. He's like, I do everything on my phone. And they confiscated his phone. Lindell says, quote, "They told me not to tell anybody. Okay, I won't. Well, I am." So Lindell is not willing to keep this private. Apparently, Lindell was duck hunting. They came back. They were going to get a bite. And then 3 cars with 4 FBI agents showed up. Now, the FBI agents told Lindell, we're not arresting you. We just have a warrant for your phone. And Lindell said that they asked him some questions, including some questions about his website, Frank Speech. And Lindell then in an interview said, quote, "All I'm trying to do is get rid of voting machines and have a paper ballots hand-counted election." So this seems to be part of a kind of widening net of Biden DOJ going after various types of people. The full story here is a little unclear because the government is not clearly saying what they're after here. Steve Bannon had warned several days ago that a number of Trump people were kind of in the sights of the government. He implied that some of this was connected with January 6th. And initially, I thought that maybe this is why they were going after Lindell. They were trying to suggest that because Lindell had made remarks about the election, that he was somehow complicit in January 6th. But it doesn't look like that's the case. At least there's a New York Times report here that says that the agents who took the phone were interested in Lindell's ties to a woman named Tina Peters. This is the clerk of Mesa County, Colorado. She's evidently under indictment, not a federal indictment, but a state indictment, because she was apparently trying to get some data from a Dominion voting machine. Now, looks like what Tina Peters is doing was she was not trying to alter election results. She was trying to maybe look inside the machine to see if it had the capacity to manipulate votes. In other words, she was basically looking to validate Lindell's and other people's theories about the election. She wanted to prove that these machines were, I guess, vulnerable. By the way, we now know from CISA, the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Agency, that these machines are vulnerable. CISA just says we don't know that in fact they were manipulated, but that they are manipulable is something the government now freely admits. But evidently this Tina Peters woman has had some ties with Lindell, namely that she attended a symposium with Lindell. She was one of the speakers at the symposium, and according to the FBI, at least in the way they were questioning Lindell, Lindell showed an image at one of his symposia that supposedly came from a Dominion machine. And maybe the FBI was asking, like, did it come from Tina Peters? Was it one of the machines that she had access to? At one point, Lindell also apparently said that he thought he had funded Tina Peters' legal defense. He had made that public statement, but then he said upon checking, he realized that he had not done that. He was funding a bunch of election stuff at the time. He assumed that he had given money to this cause, but in fact, he did not do that. So as far as I can tell, with closely reading what we know and what Lindell has said, and I haven't spoken to Lindell directly about this, it seems to me like the FBI here does not seem to be after Lindell. Now, they might be, but it looks like what they're asking him to do is to confirm or to corroborate ways in which Tina Peters might have had unauthorized access to these machines. Now, again, she was the clerk. I think she actually did have authorized access, but whether or not she went beyond her authority in what she did with these machines, I don't know. Lindell seems to be somewhat drawn into this. The FBI probably wants to look into his phone to see the connections, if any, and there will be some with Tina Peters. Looks to me Lindell's own actions here are completely benign. Here's a guy who strongly had a point of view. He was looking for different ways to validate it. And he has no direct involvement in anything that seems here remotely illegal. Now, the FBI has a nefarious way of trying to sometimes say that any ties make you part of some sort of a conspiracy. And so I don't know if they're going to try to pin something like that on Lindell. But as of this stage, all we know is that Mike Lindell right now doesn't have his phone.